once you've gazetted, why are you asking for appointments and the names already there, members of the committee? For purpose of audit, what is your concern about the other processes once gazettement, which is the final process, has been done? That's what the auditor should address when he's addressing.
Can you clarify those issues raised by members?
Thank you, Chair. Just to answer to a question by Senator Ledama, the reporting framework for the fund, it is on an accrual basis.
Okay.
Not cash basis. Yes. Then again, before gazettement of the committee members, you see, the gazettement is a final process, but there is also the process of choosing the members, choosing the members before final gazettement. So we needed to see the process, how the committee members were established before they were finally gazetted.
Chair, did anyone complain that there was a problem? Were you simply generally auditing, or were there? Because I think if someone had a problem with the processes, they would have gone to court. They would have been. This is an unchallenged process.
No, I disagree.
It's an unchallenged process. And were there any concerns of impropriety? Yeah, it's an audit, yes. But I'm wondering what he was looking at was there compliance, isn't it? Now, in compliance, did anyone complain of, was there any issue about the prior process, or you were just paperwork? Because the final, this gazettement there for compliance.
Chair, if you allow me, because I went fast.
Yeah.
Let me just assist my brother. I think Section 35 of the Public Auditor defined the scope of audit. So if it was within the scope, then I don't think it would be proper to ask the auditors why they ask those questions. So I think the problem of having a room full of too many lawyers is because of always looking at areas. But I think the question here really is to the governor, so that we don't get lost, is this issue of this gazette notice. Because the auditors, we want to clear this thing. We just don't want to waste the time here. This expenditure, the auditor is seeking to understand to confirm the propriety of the expenditure. And the only way that the auditor will be able to do that is by, one, seeing the gazette notice, which then allows for the expenditure for those members. So if we can clarify that, then my brother asked another question, whether there are other secondary documents that the auditor was seeking. It's an easy thing we can clarify, Chairman. And then we proceed.
Yeah. So let me hear from the governor.
So, Chair, our understanding is that if you look at that gazette notice, the gazette notice of, at the top there, it is 10th of February 2017. But then if you look at the body of the gazette notice itself, after indicating the names of the committee members, and down there, the last line is to be members of Nandi County Education Fund Committee, and it's dated 10th November 2016. And you see, what normally happens is that, the gazette notice signifies the conclusion of the process. Once you are done with the process, they have gotten the appointment letters, you then forward to gazettement. Sometimes the Kenya Gazette delays in doing the gazettement. But really, this is a committee, and if you look at it, this is a committee that we found in office. They were legally, when we looked at the gazette notice, they were already gazetted officers. So maybe if the issue is that this document or this gazette notice was not delivered to the Auditor General at the time of the audit, maybe that is the issue. But the team, the NASEF committee team, were legally in office as it can be confirmed from the gazette notice. And sometimes the difference in terms of the dates is not really sometimes on the basis of the county government, on the fault of the county government, because I can give you a very good example. When I gazetted my CECs, the Gazette notice came way after, because they have been appointed, they have been sworn in, then you forward the request, you forward the request to the Kenya Gazette. Sometimes they take a very long time because they are queued there. So that is the challenge.
So Chair, so that we make progress. Auditor, are you comfortable with this? Because two things. I've heard the governor saying, although not on official record, that these people were serving a term of 3 years. But the Gazette notice doesn't say the term, doesn't set the term limit. So are these guys still the same members? And also, auditors, are you okay with this one now, so we'll proceed?
Auditor, please.
Yes, we are okay.
Chair, I said in the morning, it looks like the auditor in Eldoret is not working very closely with the counties, because there was an issue in Elgeyo County that I noted in the morning, and now we are seeing this one for Nandi, because this cassette notice was February 2017, and they were supposed to serve for 3 years. Basically, they were in office. Yeah. Number two, if you check in the file, the next lot were appointed on 31st March 2020. So basically, it means people have been there, but it looks like either you are not giving the auditor these documents, or you are not working together. Basically, there is some disconnect, because I also saw it in the morning, because the Elgeyo County, small things appearing, and the auditor is saying they are not cleared. So maybe there is an issue in terms of submission of documents, because this is what you should have given the auditor.
Exactly, this document should have been, if auditor you got this, you will not raise this query. So, and the document was there, so I don't know why it was not given.
Chair, I think as you have read section 62 is very clear on submission of documents. So, and the process of auditing is there. They always issue a letter, the draft letter to the management letter to the client, unless the client did ignore, because it is normally raised in the draft letter and management letter before the audit period is closed under the financial year under review. So the question should be, were the auditor able to access this documentation? If they were not able to access documentation, then you can't blame the auditor for not looking at the documentation that did not exist. So auditor, were these documents, through you, the chair, were these documents available for you? Because if it was available, this matter would have reached this level.
Auditor, please. And this problem is not unique to Nandi County. We have seen this in other counties where the report is done, published, but when counties appear before us, that's when documents come, and they have been verified by the auditor. So then you wonder, where were these documents before the report was published? So I think you need to give us a response to that.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Yes, just as Senator Gerald Gale just hinted, audit is a process where we start from issuing them with management letters, they respond. We issue them with their draft audit reports, they respond again, before the final report that is signed by the Auditor General. Now, in these all cases, they are always given a chance to submit whichever document that is still not submitted. And mostly, what is not satisfactorily responded to is what is escalated to the next level of reporting. So this is again an issue that maybe, Chair, could be put to you, that the concern should be there that if all these chances are given, then why is it not that these documents are submitted during that process so as to eliminate the provision of so many documents at this stage? Thank you.
Let me hear from Senator Miraj Mama Haki.
Governor, do you have your own internal audit at the county government?
Yes, we do.
I think these are issues of somebody sleeping at their job. If, for instance, that they could have cooperated with the Auditor General, then we could not have these issues right now. So somebody needs to do their job at the right time.
Chair, so that we can now move forward.
Wonderful.
I'm concerned about our report. Because Auditor, you just said you're okay. Governor, just help us here. What is the term limit for the committee? It's how many years? 3 years. So if we are to go with your response, because when we retreat to write this report, I'll be very keen on the answer on what you've said. You say these people who are legally in office from 2016. So, and that is the reason why this Gazette notice is dated November 2016, correct? So if they're in office in November 2016, you'd say 2016 November, 2017, 2018, 2019, their term is up. So really, I want us to be clear. I think the auditors, you've been called to say, yes, you shouldn't. Because the truth of the matter is that that Gazette notice is not here. Because if it is 3 years, my argument was that it doesn't set up a time limit here, but the governor has gone on record saying it's 3 years. Where is the Gazette notice? Were their term extended? Do you have anything to show that they are extended? I'm just trying to help so that we can, and I can see the auditor is raising his hand there.
Let me hear from Mark.
Yes, Chair. I'm just looking at the document they have attached there, which is the Act of 2016. When you look at Section 6, it talks about the term. The term of office for members appointed under subsection 1, A, E, and F shall be 3 years, which shall be non-renewable.
Okay.
That's what the Act reads.
Then in that case, Chairman, this query has not been responded to. The governor has not submitted the Gazette notice. And I think the auditor is right to say that they did not see the document. The document has still not been submitted here. So, Governor, this is another issue that will not be resolved. So I don't know which direction Chair will give. I'll leave it to your wisdom.
Maybe, Chair, before you rule, just right on what Senator Ledama said, is apart from legality, this 449,000, you know, if you divide with 10,000 shillings, you can sponsor 50 children of Nandi somewhere in some day school. The question should be outside the legal issue, through you, the Chair. This amount, was it incurred properly? Was there value for money? Because it could be legal, but it was spent in a wrong way. So incurring of these expenses outside legality, through the Chair, did you cite, for example, apart from Gazette notice, did you cite the payment vouchers, the signatures, the IDs, per diem if it was being used, all those expenses that are incurred by the committee members outside the legality? So were there other documentation to show whether the accounts were being paid or through M-Pesa or whether the transfer was done? And they can prove with attachment maybe of attendance if they were doing a meeting, or even any other form or signature, the ID and their names. Yeah.
Okay, let me listen to the response from the auditor. But as you respond to that, I know we are covering the 2019, 2020, the period in which that gazettement may have covered. But you need to tell us, though you have not completed reviewing the other years, whether this audit query recurred again. Because if it recurred again, it means we still had the same issue of gazettement. So respond to those issues.
Thank you, Chair. As to support and accountability in terms for the funds, yes, we were satisfied with the level of support that was provided. Again, given that even the fund regulation provides for a small percentage to be used to defray expenses towards awarding of the bursaries. These were allowances that were based on the actual sittings that took place. So we did not have any reservations as to the amounts paid. Thank you.
Okay, Senator Kisang has checked through the document, and there was a letter of extension.
There's a letter of extension in your documents.
No, just on that's an illegality. That is an illegality. If the law says no extension, no one has the powers to extend. So if there's a letter there, so if these letters are here to extend, well, how are you extending when the law says you cannot renew their term? You can't even extend it. So, so Mr. Chairman, it's nobody done after 10 years. Mr. Chairman, I think this is an issue that has not been resolved. So just give directions so we can move forward.
Before I do that, let me hear from the governor. Let me hear from you. Governor, please.
Very well, thank you, Chairman. I think, as indicated, true, the Act does not specifically provide for extension. Actually, it says not renewable. But in this case, we had a situation where we didn't want to have a lapse in the process of identification and, of beneficiaries and the work of the fund. And we just provided a 4 months extension to support the process while we concluded the process for the recruitment of the other team. So for us, really,
Governor, let me stop you from taking that direction. It is illegal, it's illegal. It's a matter of black and white. So I think now we should just, Chair, maybe the committee, when we are retreating to write a report, we should give recommendations to that effect so that we move on. Because it doesn't mean that, the truth of the matter is that nobody read that law. You just proceeded to provide the extension. Because we know how laws are passed here, you could have passed a law within a very short time. So instead of us dilly-dallying, I think it's best for us to proceed. And you give directions, Mr. Chairman.
The auditor to confirm in the subsequent audit report whether this query reappeared again. You can't. You had not answered that.
Thank you, Chair. Now, it did not reoccur, but if you look at the Auditor General's report under unresolved prior year audit matters, it will still remain that unless that issue is resolved, then we will still be following up the issue under that paragraph to see that each and every issue that has been raised before is solved to a conclusive end. Thank you.
So just before, so what you are confirming that in the year 2020, 2021 and 2021, 2022, this audit query did not recur again. That the appointments were done correctly.
Yes, Chair.
So it is only for this particular.
Chair, we are taking a very different. That direction we are taking is illegal. It is very clear, and the law is an ass. This was illegal, and the only remedy is to recover the 449. With interest. That's it. There's no two ways about it. You can't.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay, maybe at this point, because I know members, you'll have an opportunity to discuss this in your meeting when you are doing the report. We say that this query has not been resolved at this point.
Yes.
But we will have an opportunity to look at it at the report writing. But because it's still existing in unresolved queries, prior year queries, I think, Governor, you need to take time to get it off your unresolved queries for prior years. Because it will continue appearing every year.
Chair, the process is
Chair, can I?
by the fact that they appeared, we table report, that is the end of the process.
Can I help you, Chair?
Please.
Since the appointments were subsequently done properly, and these individuals or whoever was appointed is in office properly, but for that period of when they were paid 449,000 in violation of the law, that must be recovered.
That's simple.
It's very easy. The board members will simply be asked to pay back the little allowances they got then. It's not a lot of money. No, forget about it. Really nice. Just you surcharge them to the extent of the 449,000.
Yeah.
And then the matter is closed with the audit.
That's the only way to resolve that.
That is to recover.
You can't do it.
The matter of interest is cannot forgo. It's a requirement also. Is legal.
Yes.
Yeah.
The matter of interest must be.
Yeah, I think
Senior
when we
counsel,
recover,
the matter of interest is not said on a Kina's creation.
it is the law.
It's the law.
Correct.
Yeah, but this particular committee was formed, I think, when you were the senator there. No, you are
Hey,
not.
Chair, no, you can't go there. It
You
doesn't
can't
matter.
go there.
Institutions,
Institutions
are
existing
perpetual.
perpetuate. And the professor, my good lecturer.
Okay, at this point, let's just say the query as at now is not resolved, but the committee will discuss it further.
But it must be recovered. This is an illegality, unless you want to reward the illegality.
Chair, I think it would be kind to the governor. So because I empathize, I think it would be kind to the governor to know what the committee will decision on. Because, while this money might be very small for top lawyers in this country like the AC, it will also be very big for some people who served in this board. So they need to expect and anticipate that they're going to pay this money with interest, adjusted to inflation, as the law requires. So this idea that is unresolved, therefore there could be a possible a different outcome. It's not there. The outcome would be the money must come back and plus interest adjusted to inflation. They need to prepare for that psychologically.
And maybe you have empathy today, you rarely have.
Governor, please. Chair, I note the directions, and therefore we would await, that official communication from the committee. And as you then weigh your mind on that particular matter, this committee, illegal as it was, sat down and presided the work of, the bursary student identification process. They did the job, supported the process, and therefore, even as you then advise us, another question arises as to the legality of the decisions and the process that they supported, and whether then, as we even think about recovering that allowances from them, what does that mean to the students that were identified through the process and they had their bursary? So my request would be, as you then officially communicate the direction on this, that also we would benefit from your wisdom with regard to how then that process, goes on. And I'm saying this because even currently in the current processes before this, the various other committees within the Senate, a question arises around pending bills. Sometimes you can see that there was work done, there is clearly, execution on the part of a contractor, but you then realize that there is 1 or 2 or 3 documents missing. We have not been able to find a conclusive process of dealing with this. It's painful that, on our case, this has gotten here, but I think an advice from yourselves would also help us as we conclude and close at this.
Chair, can I just on the legal?
Yes.
On the legal, I think when a committee is appointed, you regularize, you adopt all that was done by a body without a mandate then. So that is easy. And I don't think, unless there's something criminal, there's nothing criminal there. It's simply the appointment. It's just like the way you also have the people's president, but they're not really the president. But they've done things.
Just to...
We need to move. We need to make progress.
Chair, we agree that we agree that we need to make progress, but also it is something that has come out that the governor also, when he goes back, you know, there are those times that you might not be able to complete a process in time. You've seen that there is an opportunity that the county assembly and your side, you put a law in place that doesn't help you. So it is important that you also relook at that law and make amendments, because it's created a problem for yourself.
Chair, we cannot ignore the point that the governor has raised. And thank you, Senior Counsel, for really trying to give the committee direction. So what I'll request, Mr. Chairman, that you do, when you give the preliminary recommendations at the closing of this meeting, one of those should be clearly worded that the 449,000 shillings spent by an illegal committee to be recovered must be, plus interest must be recovered. And then subsequently, we will also recommend what SC has said and what my brother said here, that they can look at the law. In the event that you may need to amend that section for future, you do so, so that you do not continue, committing an illegality, and you're exposing yourself thoroughly. So for us to move on, Chair, we have to be very strict in terms of the law.
You know, members, I hear you, members, and I understand the challenge that we are here. But I want us to just make one decision now, that this query, as it is now, is not resolved. But as to the specific actions we are going to take, I will request that, because today is just a hearing, this is a hearing, that when this committee retreats to analyze all these issues, they will be able to give direction on this matter. But for now, because the governor has raised a very substantive issue, that yes, the committee was illegal, but they did work. So I think we need to balance the two aspects. One, the legality of the committee and the work that they did. And analyze. So what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to refuse your recommendation, but I'm simply saying let's give it a thought when we retreat to write a report. And in our report we will give clear recommendation on what needs to be done.
But Chair, an illegality is an illegality. It's like killing somebody. Even if you are self-defense, you will be charged with manslaughter. So you will not be walking around and saying, I killed somebody because I was on self-defense. An illegality is an illegality, Chair.
What I'm trying to avoid, I'm trying to avoid a scenario where we are mixing the hearing and the report writing at the same time. We will spend all our time. We still have the
Chair,
it's like
let's make progress, Chair, because also so that we will discuss among ourselves, give it right to them. Because some of these committee members will be villagers. How will we recover from villagers? The first place. So,
just a final comment, Chair, on this as we await your direction. We have subsequently, Chair, we subsequently amended our county education fund to provide that for the chair, serves for a period of 3 years renewable, and for the members 4 years non-renewable. And it was on the basis of this difficulty that we found ourselves that we realized that 3 years, if you are not careful, then you could run into the same problem that we ran with this one. So we have done some amendments to the current law, and therefore we do not envisage that we would in future run into any of this kind of a challenge. But again, as we defer to your wisdom in terms of how, and even as you consider then, I agree you have to recover from these committee members, maybe as you think through, they did not allow themselves to continue. You know, it's really on my shoulders, as it were, that we allowed them to continue, and therefore, even if it then means recovering,
it will be recovered from me.
my submission would be they did the job, maybe recover from the governor rather than these committee members. It makes I understand. I mean, I'm sure that I have presented the facts as they are. I wouldn't really want any of the committee members who did work and it was not on their, it was not their decision to continue working. We requested them to help us conclude the process. So I just leave it at that, Chair.
Let's make progress, because we are still going to look at education fund for the remaining years. So I think at that point, the things that the governor is saying they have done will become very clear, and that may help us to make a decision on this. So I'm suggesting that we move forward. We go to the next query. Auditor, we are not doing very well on time. We still have 3 queries remaining here on education fund, and yet we have the mortgage. Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. That is report on lawfulness, the basis of conclusion. This paragraph on your bursary disbursement, they're saying that as disclosed under Note 8 to the financial statement and in the statement of financial performance as at 30th June 2020, is an expense figure of 45,953,439, which includes bursaries disbursements of Kenya shillings 43,687,479. Now, the expenditure has been disclosed as a general expense in the statement of financial performance based on a cabinet memo dated 14th November 2017, which authorized the CEC Education and Vocational Training to commence the amendment process of the Nandi County Education Fund Act to expense all disbursements made from the fund. However, no evidence was provided to show that the Act has been amended. So in the absence of an amended Act, the management was in breach of the law.
Very well. Governor, your response?
Chair, the Amendment Act was done, and during the year under review, the draft Amendment Act was in place. Further amendments were done on the final copy of the Nandi County Education Fund Act 2023, and it is hereby attached as Appendix 2.
This is similar to the first query. Auditor?
Yes, Chair.
Your further comment?
Yes,
the response is that the Act is actually there.
No, that's not the response.
The response, the amendment of the Act was done. And even during that year, they amended, further amendments were made. That is the response from the governor.
Chair.
Making reference to Appendix 2. So, Auditor, did you have a look at this?
Yes, Chair, we looked at Appendix 2, and you noticed that this was done in 2023.
Chair.
Okay.
Yes, Chair.
Senator Orekina.
There
And then we come to Senator Cherege.
are 2 issues here, which all borders on illegalities. A cabinet memo does not supersede an existing act. In fact, a cabinet memo is inconsequential when it comes to issues of financial management. The auditor has raised 2 queries here. Query number 1 is that there was an expenditure of 43,687,479, which was for bursaries disbursements. But instead of it being listed out as bursary disbursements, it has now been listed in the financial statements as a general expenditure. So the query here is one, why was it not indicated clearly and given details of how those 43 million bursaries were dispersed? That is issue number one that I read from the auditor's query. Number two, this other 2 million, or is it 1 point something million, 2 million, is probably expenses. Why was it then amalgamated and added into the bursary and through a cabinet memo indicated as general expenditure? And finally, Mr. Chairman, the issue here is this. When you read the response by the governor, unfortunately, Mr. Governor, your response leaves a lot to be desired, in the sense that you cannot say that the amendment of the Act was done. So where is it? That's issue number one. Number two, and during the year, the review was in a draft amendment, then let's have a draft constitution and operate with it. I mean, seriously, we're not here to just waste our time. And I think, Governor, you have a very serious capacity challenge with your CC Finance, who is the one drafting these responses. This response should not be drafted like this. You know, we need to understand, you can't, unless senior counsel have changed the law, that you can now operate on a draft amendment to a law. There is a process of passing laws. So this, as outlined clearly by the auditors, it's an illegality. It's in breach of the laws. So we want to know, have you relooked at those financial statements and corrected them, not a cabinet memo? And Mr. Chairman, these are the things that we were discussing the other day, that in fact auditors moving forward should not be looking at financial statements. They should be looking at the budget performance and carry out a budget performance audit, because that's when we can see these things. So, Mr. Chairman, this query has not been responded to. There's another illegality. From the first query to the second to the third is going to be an illegality. I think when we finish here, I'll just go for a break so that I don't continue pointing out these illegalities, because then I may look as if I'm only looking for illegalities. But we just cannot allow this to continue. Governor, this is not right. This is in violation of the law. And I don't know what your response is going to be. But as far as I'm concerned, I've looked at the first query was an illegality. Second query, an illegality. Third query is an illegality. That can only lead to, one, capacity issues.
Chair,
Senator Chirigi.
Chair, in quick succession, the issue you cannot operate in draft, and I think it is good my teacher, Professor Agenda, is here. You cannot operate in draft, and therefore it goes to the whole process of bursary disbursements. Because of this 45 million or plus or 43 million, when you deduct the expenditure figure of around 2 million, it comes back to one, the process and the bursary disbursement of this amount. Number two, and it is important, I ask, the governor has indicated that the law was in place, but when you look at the management response, it contradicts itself. It says there was an amendment act, it says the year under review, the draft amendment act was in operational. And we know very well the draft does not, it cannot be used to authorize a legal process, Chair. So the question is, if maybe to the auditor, and I think, Chair, if you have seen, there is a chronic violation of Section 62 on Public Audit Act. Because, and you know, I always believe audit process is one of the fairest. Because you are given letters of management, draft letters, you have been given opportunity to provide this documentation. So, Chair, we have seen on the second part is that non-availability of documentation. Because I believe the auditor had seen this amended act as stated by the governor would be issued, Chair. So my only concern is on the aspect of the process and the legality of bursary disbursement. Because this one is being brought up by existence of illegal members that were doing the work, and it is giving back to a process of bursary disbursement, Chair. So to the auditor, were you able to cite this documentation in time, or you are now being ambushed with the documentation that you are seeing on this? Because it will go back to the process of bursary disbursement of 43 million and maybe plus 2 million on the expenditure that was being carried in the process. Through you, the chair, maybe the auditor can clarify.
Auditor, clarification.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Yeah, as far as the General's report is concerned, there were no reservations that were raised on the process of award of the bursaries.
Was the documentation on the act available for you now that the governor seat is existed during in his management reports? Was this amendment in place by the time you were doing?
It was not in place, and that is what the audit issue is all about. It was based on a memo, and it was that subsequently.
Auditor, does memo have any legal powers? You and me know it doesn't. So it was illegal in short.
Yes.
Okay, I want us to conclude on this, but before we do that, let me hear from the governor.
Chair, before the governor goes,
Okay.
I'm just wondering,
The two senators,
yeah,
and then
yeah, I'm just wondering, Chair, whether we have a county attorney who runs this process, because now the governor is, for purpose of these proceedings, the governor is not a lawyer. I'm sure there's a county attorney who must bear the burden of having advised these processes and probably should be answering questions. We talked about capacity issue, but largely that is, I think the county attorney should be bearing liability and not even the governor on some of these things.
is the county attorney did hear him introduce himself? He's not here.
Chair, that is, I expected better from my lecture. Article 2265, the back stops with the governor. That's what the Constitution says.
Okay,
so if you start pointing out individual officers, then it doesn't, we cast aspersion on Article 2265 because governors have executive authority.
Let's hear from Eddie.
Senator Shagai, don't worry. The AC is the senior counsel, but
he's not in ODM.
He's not in ODM where devolution is protected. So
that one is off the record.
Off the record.
Off the record.
Chair, out of serious curiosity, Audit, I just wanted you to tell this committee whether this disclosed general expense you got where it was spent, because it looks like a lump sum generation. Do you have in your possession articulation of where the 43 million was spent? Because I heard you say something like there was no question about bursaries expenses. Can you tell this committee that for sure the 43 million was spent on bursaries?
Yes, Chair. I do confirm that the 43 million was spent on bursary disbursements. Now, the reservation that was raised under that paragraph is that the way the financial statements have been presented, they do not meet the disclosure requirement that the county should disclose that they spent that much on bursaries, so that any user of the financial statement could easily just pick the financial statement and say, this is what Nandi County Education and Bursary Fund spent on bursaries. Thank you.
For the purpose of this committee and for my own help, as we be doing the report writing, could you provide the committee with that confirmation?
True.
Thank you, Chair. We'll provide that confirmation.
Chair, out of curiosity, through you with your indulgence, when the auditor says non-disclosure, and you have argued that the process and the committee that was done was an illegality, are you not shooting yourself on the foot? Because if you are not sure of the process, as Senator Eddy has asked, can you be able to disclose an account for that 45 million, both bursary disbursement and expenses that were incurred in the process? Or you didn't look at that part through the indulgence of the chair?
Auditor,
Thank you, Chair.
sorry, members are asking this just to get clarification.
Yes.
You are not,
I'm not
yeah,
Yes,
just
Chair.
for clarification.
Yeah, that's why the auditors are here.
Yeah.
So, Chair, you'll find that there is, on one side, there is the legality of the committee in question, and on the other hand, there is the bursaries that have been processed and disbursed. Now, maybe legal persons would tell us here, but we raised issue on the composition of that is the committee, but we did not have reservations on the bursary disbursements. So with that, that's why the General raised the issue, so that any other aspects of that would be considered by the committee. Thank you.
I think what is coming out very clearly is issue of competence, as Adama had put it at some point. Because one, the issue of not gazetting the committee. The committee was there, did work. The only thing is it was not gazetted. And then this one, the bursary was given out, but it was captured as a different thing, general expenses. So I think, Governor, maybe that's one area you need to look at. Governor?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I would like to clarify that the amendment that the auditors spoke.
At that time they did was an illegality. So what you're giving us is how that matter has been cured. Because if we go back, you will force us to ask questions about using the law that does not exist, just like the way we are doing with the housing fund now, where we are being told by the courts to amend the act to comply for deductions, Chair.
Okay, maybe Governor, you can finalize on that.
Chair, we, in the implementation of the bursary scheme, we realized that there were huge gaps with regard to the law, and that made the process, difficult for us, and that is why we started a comprehensive program a comprehensive process to amend the law. And therefore, as pointed out by the auditor, we agree that in the process of that, implementation of the bursary programs, and the fact that the law, the many gaps that existed in the law, and I am happy that we have been able to conclude that amendment process. We now have a law that is clear, and these issues that are before this committee, the audit queries before these committees, will not reoccur in the other subsequent audits, because we cleaned up the law. So it's only that then the process of also cleaning up the law is, the amending of the process of amending the law is a process, tedious, but I am happy that we have succeeded to amend, align, and now moving forward, we do not have the challenges that we have here. But I must admit, this is a law that when we came into office, this law existed. we did the amendments, now we have a law that I am comfortable with.
Very well. So, Auditor, you confirm there were no loss of funds in this query?
Yes, Chair.
It's just a matter of the capturing the accounts. I'm saying that so that we don't say that 43 million was eaten. The facts are that it was captured wrongly in the accounts. Instead of bursary, it was captured as general expenses.
Chair. Yes. You know, that's what's very weighty. This is not something that was captured in financial statements as a function of the CEC or even the chief officer doing a regular requirement of section 164. It was a cabinet memo, meaning the cabinet sat on this and chose to put this as a general expense. I think the people who know finance know what exactly what we are going to with this, which is why the only way you actually clear this query is it doesn't only end at correcting the illegality of the Act amendment. It also goes with being able to establish whether there was value for money for that 43 million, because it was a cabinet decision and a cabinet memo that cannot qualify you to change a financial notation in financial statements. You can't just say blank statement that we checked and the bursaries were disbursed. This committee must be convinced beyond doubt, beyond any reasonable doubt actually, that indeed that memo does not contradict the value of money as was. That's the sense of why the authority is saying that. That was based on a cabinet memo, not a regular requirement of section 164 of standard reporting procedure.
And Chair, to be clear, sorry for indulgence for dragging this, is that cabinet memo is not an appraisement of the Act. So the fact that auditor should go back and see the value, because cabinet memo is not the law. The law is what the auditor wanted to see if it was properly. So the issue should be, even if the cabinet memo, which did not have the legal value or legal power, the auditor must go back and tell us whether there was value for money for 3 million or 45 as they have raised. So the question is the value for money. It is not about the loss of public funds, or it is whether the value. You know, there can be no loss, but there can be no value for that money. Because, for example, if you are giving a student money, for example, 10,000 shillings, and maybe the student does not spend by attending through tuition, then there is no value for money outside. So the issue should be the cabinet memo did not replace the Act or did not have the legal effect. But now, did it have the value for money on this amount that was disbursed? And I think, Chair, you can...
And you know, Chair, just very quickly on this, I want to agree with Secretary Charity on this. You see, where there is any, perhaps gaps, let me use the word gaps, or some voids where there's no clarity between any county laws and national laws, national laws takes precedence. You see, the reporting here, there's a standard procedure that is required under the PFM Act, Section 164. I think that the auditors are conversant with this, on why if you disburse this bursaries indeed as required, Section 164 will invite you to declare it as such. So my guess is that when you sat and in the cabinet and decided that this was going to be denoted as a general expense, then it was indeed in understanding that that act requires you of a certain reporting procedure. So then, even if you amend the act, the qualification for this has to be that the money was actually utilized for what it was meant for. And that is the standard clearance for this kind of audit.
You know, I really want us to make progress. I can see CEC wants to say something through the governor.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, allow me to clarify two issues. So number one,
the cabinet memo in question was authorizing the CECM in charge of vocational training to initiate the process of amending the Act. It wasn't approving or directing the purpose for the use of it. Number two, the reason as to why that figure appeared to be a general expense was because of the template that was in use then. But all the other supporting documentation indicated that indeed that was a bursary award. Thank you.
Do you have the query with you? Do you have the query with you?
Yes, I do.
Read through where it starts with the expenditure.
Statement of financial performance.
The bursary disbursement. Read where it started with the word the expenditure, because I don't want to misinterpret the auditor.
The expenditure has been disclosed as general expenses in the statement of financial performance.
Based
on a cabinet memo dated 14 November 2017, which authorized the CEC Education and Vocational Training to commence the amendment process of the Nandi County Education Fund Act.
So there are two things that the memo is instructing you. There are two things that statement says. That the memo is instructing you to put this as a general expense. Two, go and deal with the issue of the act. So that our concern here is why is this expense? Why could they disclose this expense as a bursary expense? You see where the problem is? Because if it has been spent on bursary, we know what general expenses are in a county, right? You're a CEC finance, right? You know what the general expenses in a county are. Bursary cannot be a general expense.
It is true.
True?
True, Chair.
It has been captured in the finances as a general expense, meaning that you recognize that indeed you're supposed to be captured as a bursary. But then you've captured it based on the fact that you have been directed to do that. You see, it gives a lot of questions desired here.
So, Chair, the memo.
Before you respond, Chair, before you respond, you know, as senators, we'll pick it as if, because you put in amendment of the law here, and then at the same time you are saying put it as a general expense. We'll take it as if you are using that particular amount to move around, to use this instead of bursary to get comments from the public about the amendment of the law. So you know that's why we are still moving around, because it's not coming out clearly the intention of the cabinet.
Chair, let me from the governor.
Yeah.
We need to make progress. You know, it's already, it is approaching 4:30, and we have not covered the other parts.
Chair, for the comfort of the committee, if you would then, I would request, because of, you know, the details given in there may not be speaking out as it should. If you would allow us and the Auditor General to just interrogate and communicate to the committee specifically on this particular one, details, even including, if need be, the documents relating to the expended bursary, that would make sense, because I think we are having difficulty. The audit question, as I understood it, and the way it's being spoken to, if you can just allow us to respond to this.
Sorry, I want us to conclude, Chair, but I want to have the governor here. Governor, you're a lawyer. I'm a finance person. They will tell you the reason why you're going to have a lot of problems, even when we read for this report writing. 43 million spent on bursaries at reporting cannot in any way be treated as general expense. General expense is money, now that for me to put the help of the CEC, general expense is money that you use for daily operations. Basically, what this goes down in these books, it means that you use these things for postage, this 43 million was used for maybe paying water, paying rent, occupancy, all those kind of things. In the absolute financial explanation of that particular term. And that's why, if it is in the strictness of the writing of the report, you will be queried further of where did the money go. And that's why you see I've asked the auditor very, very clearly, we would want to see where that money was spent, because general expense is purely an operational expense. And you cannot denote 43 million spent on bursaries as a general expense in your financial. So that is a problem. And the way you clear it is just to say, yes, it was wrongly denoted, but this is how we spent the money so that it clears it out. I think, Chair, with that, we can be able to proceed.
Can I question Senator Eddy? Can an amended financial statement?
I know you have so many questions.
No, I'm just asking because he's an expert person.
Yeah.
I'm not auditing him, I'm asking, this has been placed as a general expense. Yes. When you do amended financial statement, can you now revote in a different vote or under a different note?
Only if you give us the evidence of where the money was spent, without any doubt that this money was spent on bursaries. These are the bursaries that was spent.
And that's what the governor was requesting.
Exactly.
Which I think is a reasonable request. We allow the governor to submit the specifics, including the bursary schedules that was paid out. And then the committee can look at it, and the auditor, you can verify that and forward it to the committee. So, honorable members, I think we are remaining with one query, which is the implementation of oversight body's recommendation. With your indulgence, because of time, I request that we stop at this point on bursary fund. But when we'll be doing the next meeting,
Chair,
we will cover that as well.
Just on a quick glance.
Yes.
On this aspect where county assembly has not received financial statements, maybe they can say, I noticed that the MCAs are not with us, but this is a very serious issue because MCAs play oversight role. Because when you read part of the question, says there were no evidence that financial statements have been submitted to the county assembly, contrary to section 149(1) of the PMF Act, which states, so were they able to submit those financial statements? Because I know, Chair, if MCAs were here, you would have asked them whether they have looked at that report.
Anyway, I get your point. So let's cover that very quickly. The auditor, please take us through the query. I am so worried about time because we are about to hit 5.
But Chair, you are very kind today. So I thought time would be kind to us.
No, you know, you need also to manage your questions because there are many. Proceed.
The money is also a lot. So it goes with questions.
Proceed. Thank you, Chair. Paragraph 2 on implementation of oversight body's recommendations. Nandi County Education Fund Act 2016 was established on 8 June 2016. The objective is to establish a legal and institutional framework to facilitate improved access to education by all residents of Nandi County by providing funds and scholarships, enhanced equity in education for all residents of Nandi County, improvement of literacy levels within Nandi County, and ensuring that a specific portion of the county annual budget is devoted to the education fund for the purposes of this act. Available information indicates that Nandi County has an internal audit function and an audit committee. Further, statutory audits of the fund for the year ended 30th June 2017 were concluded and audit certificate issued to the fund management by the Auditor General. However, there was no evidence the financial statements have been submitted to the County Assembly contrary to section 149(1) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, which states that an accounting officer in is accountable to the county assembly in a way to the county assembly for ensuring that the resources of the entity for which the officer is designated are used in a way that is, one, lawful and authorized, two, effective, efficient, economical, and transparent. And Regulation 19.1 of the Public Finance Management, that's County Government Regulation 2015, states that the standing committee shall generally be responsible for the following. One, monitor the effectiveness of the corporate governance practices under which the entity operates and proposes revisions as may be required from time to time, and keep monitor timely resolution of audit issues. Consequently, the fund management was in breach of the law and regulations, and timely implementation of the General's recommendations may not be achieved in the absence of an effective oversight of public funds.
Very well, Governor, your response?
Chair, the management has been submitting its financial statements and any other relevant reports to of the fund for the county assembly as per section 149.1 of the Public Finance Management Act, and we have attached copies of some of the relevant documents that we have been able to submit to the assembly. So we do that.
Very well, Auditor, your further comment?
Chair.
To your comment on the response.
Oh, thank you, Chair. So far, the issue is still not satisfactorily responded to, given that we've not seen the process through which the submission was done to the Assembly, and maybe any subsequent acknowledgements from the Assembly side that they are in receipt of the submitted report. Thank you.
Chair, may I inquire? I thought when you're dealing with this money is accrued or secured by the assembly, any of these things, the clerk should be here for the assembly. That's
about financial statements.
yeah, but I thought that because like the auditor is talking about the assembly and all those things, is in the assembly an entity again that must.
You know, what usually happens, the clerk invites the county assembly. I think the committee of park, but some county assemblies don't send the MCS because of budgetary issues. They have no money to send their MCS here, unless the executive funds they are coming. So that's the problem. That's why you see some counties, you may find that MCAs are not coming to our meetings. So there is a problem with they claim budget issues. Maybe for Cheregei paid for them.
No, Chair, you are making a sweeping statement which is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because I will be audited if I have to pay for them. It is an entity. A quick one, Chair. You have noticed on all audit queries, it looks like, I think the auditor doesn't want, but let me help him. It is non-citing of this documentation.
Yeah.
It goes back to section 62. Chair, as you retreat, you must give proper direction. Because, and maybe before I request that, Governor, out of your busy schedule, have you been able to sit with Office of the Auditor General, even at entry meeting, exit meeting, management during a draft? Have you been able to sit with the auditor? Because if you had sat with the auditor, your officers would have given the serious it deserves the auditor when he comes to look at the documentation. So through you, Chair, has governor been able to sit with auditor at any given point? And that has been, some governors has been able to, like when Mutula Kilonzo appeared before us, he was able to indicate that during the entry meetings, when auditors come, they sit, because these are public office. It doesn't mean when you sit, you must sit because you are looking at the public fund. So my question to Governor, have you been able to sit at any point with the auditor? And then finally, Senator Professor Tom Agenda SC had indicated about the county attorney. I think it should go on record that in the last session, where you was truly chaired, we midwife the County Attorney Act which is in place. So the question should be to the governor also, when did he last appoint the county attorney? So that when we raise issues of non-submission of documentation as per section 62, other gaps that we are looking at, the legal gaps, does it mean that there is no county attorney in office or there was no one? Because the law is already there. The law had been passed in the last session. So those are my two questions to governor.
Every governor starts by the audit, and then we finalize on those other additional issues.
Thank you, Chair. I think in terms of submission of documents, I think if we look at the bundle of documents we have when a document is submitted to the assembly, they receive it, and you can see there is a receipt, a stamped receipt for about three of the reports already submitted to the county assembly. We endeavor to do that, and even the executive appears before the county assembly to address themselves to a lot of these concerns. So we do submit to the county assembly the documentation. I think what is outstanding here is what the senator has pointed, my senator has pointed out in terms of, availing that evidence to the auditor that indeed they were submitted. It appears that there could be where the lapse is, but we have submitted to the county assembly, and it is well noted in terms of that this should happen. I have sat with various teams of auditors on several occasions on their entry meeting and their exit meetings. I do, and even when I am not available myself, my deputy governor steps in, so we do that. Definitely, in terms of I need to be a little more keen in terms of just ensuring that documentation are available in good time. This I note and I take up.
Yes, Eddie, Senator Eddie. Chair, just very fast. Who is the administrator of this fund? Through you, Governor. Just tell me the name.
Kosgei.
Mr. Kosgei.
Yeah.
Governor, in the last session,
A number of governors appeared before us here. And where your officers are failing you, under Article 96 of the Constitution, we have the obligation to protect you. Because you are the executive, the ultimate executive. In fact, you're the only person who's elected that the Constitution under Article 179 refers to as the CEO of the county. I think you're very lenient and you're very kind. If I were you, I would have fired the CEC of Finance. I would have fired the officer. Because everything that has been brought here look to me like issues of incompetence. I don't know whether Mr. Kosgei, through the governor, understands the responsibilities bestowed upon him under Section 148 and 149 of the PFM Act. And then it goes without saying that even before it reaches you, because I'm seeing you taking the blames here all the time, because you're putting in a place whereby you are saying that our auditors are lying, and I don't want to get into that. Auditors are saying that documents have not been submitted to county assembly. You are saying they have been submitted. If you start asking between you and the auditor who is right, I can assure you the auditor is right. But you are trying to be lenient to your officers to excuse them
of completely sleeping in their on their job. The CEC Finance and the administrator of this fund, we are beseeching you, go and familiarize yourself with section 148 and 149, because next time you come here with this kind of mistakes, we can assure you will recommend that the governor sacks you. Is that simple? And the CC Finance, I also want to encourage you to actually go and read section 184 as well, because we will excuse the governor on these ones. You are the final accounting officers to the governor and to the executive committee in the county. So if you don't understand those sections, and then the governor comes here embarrassed that those documentations are not done, we will not excuse you. We will protect the governor and recommend that you get sacked, because this is complete incompetence. You are not submitting documents to county assemblies. You are required by section 149(1), and you must just comply. Governor, don't excuse your officers, because otherwise it won't be effective. You will just get embarrassed before us over very small administrative issues that should not come into this committee.
Chair, maybe in conclusion.
No, we need to.
No, I know you need to move, but just to note that non-submission of documentation, as you retreat to right, you must give a way forward. On Senator Eddie saying about the governor being kind, I don't know that. Maybe because you are a stranger. I don't think he's a kind. He's just come today.
No, that is off the record. We are dealing with the audit queries, not local politics. I think we had the legal officer had read out the relevant clauses. And I think the CEC and your team, you have heard that. Honorable members, it is now past 4:30. It is now past 4:30. 4:40 actually. We have the car loan and mortgage scheme fund for the 3 years, 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021, and 2021, 2022. I want to seek your guidance on this.
I can give a proposal, Chair.
Yes.
I can give a proposal, Chair. You remember when we were doing the water companies, we were using the last year as a base, but if there are recurring issues in the other years, we could go through. So that basically we base 2021-22 as our base year. The auditor takes us, checks the recurrent issues, and so that we don't repeat. Because some of these things, if you check, Chair, they are all recurring every year. So the proposal, let's use 2021-22 as the base year. The way we did for what?
Definitely we will use 2021-2022 as a base year.
Yes.
Maybe the auditor, I would like you to, for the members to appreciate how much work they have remaining. You take us through the audit queries, indicate the status from your end, whether it's cleared or not cleared, and then you will indicate to us recurring queries, so that now we only use 2021, 2022.
Can I give also my proposal?
Yeah, what's your proposal?
I know you are a man of democracy.
Yes.
Now, as your party is. Now, what I can say is that I agree with you with the base of using the most recent financial year under review. What I would request also, the auditor can assist us in bringing up cross-cutting audit queries that have been raised in the previous. Number two, Chair, to make efficiency, my advice, I don't want to cut the committee. I know this committee are like morticians. We come at the tail end of process. Issues like budgetary control and performance, since it has been overtaken, I don't see the need why we should go there. We go just to you isolate issues like budgetary control and performance, we can, because it's just passed, and then reading even the qualified opinion, I don't see there is need, so that we go for the meet and maybe finally chair on the issue of report on effectiveness and internal controls. Those are more of academic discourse. So if we can do the other so that we use efficiency of time.
So, Auditor, maybe let's start with the year, the base year, 2021, 2022. Indicate the members, the status, and you can also tell us.
Chair, instead of going through everything, why can't we just deal with and resolve issues?
Yes.
And what is outstanding? Then the governor will tell us what he's doing to recover the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the auditor will have to guide us on that. Yeah, just tell us what has not been cleared, what has not been cleared. That is cleared from your end. Yeah.
On this baseline here? Or
Yeah.
on other years?
No, we are starting with the baseline.
Oh, baseline here.
Yeah. Auditor, please.
Whether it is resolved or not.
Thank you, Chair. That is for 2021-2022. We have the first paragraph was on inaccuracies in the financial statements. Not cleared. Two unexplained variances on current receivables.
Outstanding.
Not cleared. Loan balances from staff due to exit service. Not cleared. Capital risk management. Not cleared. Receivables from exchange transaction. Not cleared. Non-performing loans. Not cleared. On budgetary control and performance, not cleared. Unresolved prior matters, it still remains. Lawfulness and effectiveness, that's mortgage loan insurance, still not cleared. Issue on title of the fund, that has been satisfactorily responded to. Pending receivables from county executive, still not cleared. So that is for 2021-22.
Yes, dear.
No?
So that means. So which of those queries are recurring for the base year?
Okay, Chair, maybe just to bring to your attention, some of the issues may be touching on maybe presentation of the financial statements. That's why, because that is how the financial statement has been presented and it had those deficiencies. So you see, at this point, maybe there's nothing that has been done about them, so they just remain as they were. So maybe most of the issues maybe would be touching on the reporting, especially compliance with the reporting template, what was omitted, what was not. Then maybe issues that are recurring.
So what those ones, those queries are like inaccuracies in financial statements.
Yeah, maybe inadequate disclosures.
Unexplained variances. Loan balances that cannot be. Loan balances from staff due to exit service.
Yes, so like that one you find maybe so far they are not they have not confirmed the current status of those loans, and some of the staff could have exited the service. So I think that one is still recurring. Especially on the issue of non-performing loan. And the amount that was is owed to the fund by the county executive, I think that is still recurring.
So which of these queries has a high fiduciary risk? Maybe just pick 3 of them. We can look at them.
Now, one of them is the non-performing loans.
So we look at non-performing loans.
Yeah, we look at non-performing loans.
What else?
Chair, point of order.
Yeah,
I thought
also
financial statement is important because if it reflects the inaccuracy, we should go through inaccuracies of financial statements because it goes to the heart of the health or unhealth of the entire reflection of the entity. I support.
Okay, so we cover inaccuracies,
The non-performing loan.
the non-performing loan, and then lastly the other one.
Unexplained variances. Unexplained variances is very cheap.
What about mortgage loan insurance?
Yeah, even mortgage loan insurance is a very critical one. Hapo ndio kuna maneno.
Chair, I also think that the unexplained variance is important.
Then you will end up covering your entire report.
But there are only 4. There are only 4.
I think we start here so that we go and see where we can be able to reach because.
Yes. Okay, let's start with the first query, Auditor. The inaccuracies in the financial statement. And maybe give ourselves for another, how long? 1 hour?
Yes, no more.
1 hour from now? So that we can finish at around 5:30. And if you have questions, make sure those questions are necessary so that we manage time. Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. That is on inaccuracies in the financial statements. A review of the financial statements presented for audit revealed the following errors. 1. The statement for financial performance reflects total revenue and total expenses amounts of 3,523,474 and Kenya shilling 650,000 respectively, while the statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts reflects total actual revenue and total actual expenses amounts of 32,464,821 and 29,324,000 respectively, resulting to an unreconciled or unexplained differences of 28,941,347 and Kenya shillings 28,704,000 respectively. Now, in addition, the statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts reflects material variances which have not been explained as required under IPSAS 24.14, which requires that material variances have to be explained. 2. Transfers to or from key management personnel as well as amounts due to or due from them have not been disclosed under related party transactions in Note 22 to the financial statement. Now, in the circumstances, the financial statements did not comply with disclosure requirements of the International Public Sector Accounting Standards, that's accrual basis, as prescribed by the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board.
Yeah, Governor, your response?
Let me allow the CC to respond.
CC, Finance.
Thank you, Chair. The first section of the query, we acknowledge that we noted as per the auditor's report, and going forward it will be reported, and the subsequent report it will be captured correctly. In the second part, on transfers, during that financial year, we didn't have such transfers. They were nil amounts on the transfers. But going forward, in situations where we will capture accordingly. Thank you.
Auditor, your comments on the response?
Thank you, Chair. The issue is not resolved actually because for part 1, this required a reconciliation because the statement of financial performance is presented on an accrual basis, and the statement of comparison of budget and actual is on cash. Now, the actuals under budget and the actuals under performance are not in agreement, so they need to reconcile to maybe explain why are they at variance. Now, part 2 of it, the key managed personnel, whereas maybe because the template requires that those who are given during the year, including those who are existing. So there could have been those who are not given during the year, but there are those who have been given. So that disclosure was necessary. Thank you.
Chair, before you come in, Senator, let me hear from the representative of the Treasury, because the one reason why you are here is because of such issues, that public entities are supposed to adhere to the accounting standards. So what are you doing about this? Because we are seeing a lot of this, and yet we expect that that should be one of the things you are creating capacity building on, and advising counties on how to deal with this.
Thank you, Chair. As you rightly put it, we do advise on financial transactions, but maybe I would say that from the information which is given here, in fact, I would maybe say that there could be a capacity issue. And given the number of counties we have, though we do the training, but in case of any urgent need, then we advise that the relevant county can request for either our officers for secondment or even some training. So we do have enough officers, but maybe at this point we would request that the counties can identify their problems so that because we may not be able to go county by county up to all of them, but currently we do advise on the financial transactions they do.
Now this committee now directs you to help in Nandi County on this matter, because recently we were in a training and we were told that you are rolling out that programs, those programs in counties and even public entities, so that there is a standard accounting, reporting and standards for public institutions and the county governments. So, but we are seeing a lot of these queries appearing almost in every fund, which is of concern. So, Senator...
Yes, maybe, Chair, as an observation, I thought reconciliation should either be done on specific time and period as per the PMF Act. It shouldn't be a problem what it is in you. Yeah, maybe the CC finance through the governor. How often do you do different forms of reconciliation as per the PMF Act? Number one. Number two, Chair, This is car and mortgage financial statements. We just look at the education fund, and you have noticed there is a problem about financial statements. So my question to the governor, through the chair, who signed off these financial statements, and whether they have ISPAC number, and whether they are duly qualified. Because this is a problem that has recurred in the other fund, it is recurring in this fund, and it is affecting the entire proceeding. That is my question number 3. And then number 3, has there been provision of amended financial statement, Auditor General, that has been presented? Because the danger of financial statement is when they could be misreporting or misclassification, or generalizing different expenses or funds that has been used that will affect the entire process. So, Chair, those are my 3 questions on when should reconciliation be done, and number 2, the person who signed off. Because, Chair, if the person who signed off this financial statement is a qualified ISPAC member, and Senator Edi knows this, we should report them to the authority, just like the way LSK reports lawyers. And the chair of former LSK is seated next to me. So, Chair, that is a serious issue, because we have noted in the other fund, we are noting in this fund. So if you issue direction, unless the person who signed off this financial statement was not qualified, then it becomes a story altogether. Thank you, Chair.
Let's start by the first question you posed to the CEC Finance through the governor.
Thank you, Chair. The question was, how often do we reconcile? As and when we notice there is a discrepancy, we will reconcile. But most importantly, we do quarterly reports, and every quarter before we submit, we will have checked and confirmed. Chair, I would want to ask the committee to take note that this kind of fund it is unique in the sense that if you talk about key personnel, transfers to and from key personnel to the fund, then the question is, who is that key personnel? Because the fund has an administrator and a committee. So looking at them, sometimes when the administrator, or more often the administrator, may not be a beneficiary of that scheme, because it's a director. This scheme targets the executive. So it is not universal as such, and so therefore we will require that the National Treasury guides, and that is why they have now mentioned that we can bring up the matter to them so that they can guide us going forward. Sometimes they fail to conform to the universal requirement of general funds.
On financial
Signing off, that was signed by the fund administrator, of course, qualified chair.
was?
It's signed off by the fund administrator.
Is he a practitioner?
Yes, she is.
His part number?
Through the chair, he will allow that the governor can pick up from there.
Where is the I told chair to read financial statement. You see someone who signed off and read out the ISPAC number.
Governor, please, your response. So the fund administrator is a CPA, so we can provide that number.
But chair, the documentation that governor submitted is part of the financial statement that was signed off. Is that person who signed off this financial statement with us, governor, and who she or he can go on record and read out the ISPAC number? Then the committee can pick up from there. Who signed off the financial statements? And I think, Chair, the faster the client responds, the better for your time management.
Sure. Yeah, as the process that, maybe you...
Chair, can I help here?
Kisang wanted to say something.
Eddie, take it and then I'll...
Chair, you've got bias towards your left. I am very patient, but anyway, he's an elder. Let him go to continue because I keep on seeking your attention here, but...
No, that's Eddie. You see now we are being given sweets to sort out our sugar levels. Chair, you know, I've seen the auditor said all these issues they are not resolved. True or not? And the CEC Finance has admitted there is a capacity issue because it looks like there is really a capacity issue. They need Treasury to help them. So. Governor, I think what you need is, even after today's meeting, you need to have people sitting with the auditor, because it looks, if you check the responses also, they are not very comprehensive. So please, CC and the fund manager, assist our friend, assist the governor. Because it's coming out clearly that there are some capacity issues, especially in finance. So please, mine is, since most of these issues are not fully solved, maybe you need to give us direction. How are we going to continue? And we also don't want to look like it's an engagement between the senator from that county and.
No, Chair, that is out of order. So
no, it's not.
Through the Chair, because I have asked a simple question. Chair, it is on record that the person who signed off the financial statement is CPLN Kemba, administrator of the fund, ISPAC member 11936, and also CPA Matthew Rock, fund accountant, ISPAC member number 221626. It is my question is, when you talk about capacity, these people are qualified, and preparation of financial statement, it will tell you are basics in accounting. So do you need to go to Treasury to be trained on how to do financial statements? So the question should be, somebody is derelict on their duties, as simple as that. Because you can request Treasury to do capacity building, we can tell the governor to do a budget of training and capacity, but people just don't want to do their job. It is as simple as that. Because it's like being a senator and then you are being told, instead of legislating, we need to take you to Naivasha to train you on how to come and do your job. I wish this respectfully. I wish the people who signed off the financial statements were not qualified. It would have been a different issue altogether. But these are people who are qualified, and they should have just done their job because the ISPAC number is there. These are people who have studied for CPA. Chair, you must pronounce, when you do a retreat writing and pronounce a direction, this is just the reliction of the duty. It is as simple as that.
Chair, I want to beg that we proceed because even me, I'm losing a lot of patience. A lot of patience. You know, there are some basics that if you start missing, again, Governor, I'm coming back to you. I think that the Senator perhaps has got a different color of you than what I'm seeing. But you're being too lenient. There are cost accounting elements here that your accountants have seen that the serious deviations. You just explain the deviations. And even the accountant is telling you a very simple thing, explain the deviations and then reconcile. Yes, you could have a projection before and then you realize something after, but you can't close financial statements without explaining the deviations. It is that simple. If your chief officer of finance is telling us that we have, look at the response, Governor. Governor, you are a very young governor, and you know that now I feel very embarrassed because I associate with you as a young person. The chief officer is telling us, auditors has raised the issue of explanation and reconciliation of these material variances. Then the chief officer is telling us that we have noted, going forward, we will deal with this. When I was expecting that the chief officer, rallying his entire troops, would have explained these deviations first before you tell us that you do them in the future. Because if you don't explain these deviations, how do you expect to run this fund honestly? How do you even proceed into the future? And you know that the divisions are not simple. Their figures are here in 28 million. That's not simple at all. You just say that I'll brush it over and then say that I'll proceed to the future. Governor, I raised with the issue of incompetence with your staff, and I'm beginning to think that it will take very serious action because but there, when I was bringing the issue of unexplained balances on current receivables, I had seen the same kind of notation. So, Governor, anyway, let's just conclude that, Chair, let the relevant, leaders here, let me call them leaders, just go and reconcile these things and explain them.
Chair,
Let's just say that for now.
Chair.
So that we don't take much time on it. Chair, then we proceed. Because
yeah, Chair, it is 7 minutes past 5 p.m.
We are ending at 5:30.
5:30.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next 30 minutes. It is a query on
But Chair, in conclusion,
yes.
what I wanted to insist is on what Senator Evia said, that in as much as this committee would want to support counties, they should also do their job because they are paid to. So the fact that these financial statements, which are inaccurate, were prepared by somebody or some people who are qualified, then the necessary institute that oversight them, this committee has power to ensure either they are reprimanded or necessary disciplinary action is taken. Because I can imagine if these financial statements get to where, in private organization, Chair, this warrant dismissal. It is that public institutions are very lenient, but in a private institution, somebody should be home. So these are basic. I don't think why should we disturb Dr. Munywa or my friend from Treasury to do a capacity building on how to do a financial statement. What are we saying as counties? This is what is giving devolution a bad name. So, Chair, as you retreat to write the report, you must take action against these people who are qualified, but they did the wrong thing. But in my interpretation, Chair, maybe they did the wrong thing to mislead everybody, including the auditor, the committee, and everybody. That could be another possibility, just being plain smart.
I think honorable members, I think this issue of inaccuracies in financial statement and variances is becoming very common. And the accountants, the qualified accountants, you have a responsibility to ensure that you do your financial statement professionally. And maybe at the point of retreating to write this report, we may consider to take some steps so that this matter does not recur again. Because we are having a lot of these things happening. Because once you have a query on inaccuracies, it affects every other thing. It means there are doubts about that financial statements, and many other issues are affected, issues of variances. So I think without belaboring the point, we will note that this matter is of concern. We'll have a relook at it, inaccuracies in the financial statements. So for the interest of time, let's look at non-performing loans. Auditor. The non-performing loan, which was on page 3.
Thank you, Chair. On non-performing loans, it said that the statement of cash flows for the year ended 30th June 2022 reflects proceeds from loan principal repayments amount of Kenya shillings 26,741,971. However, an audit of the loan repayments and loan amortization schedule revealed that loans totaling to Kenya shillings 14,954,146 were not repaid as per the amortization schedule during the year. This is contrary to Regulation 16.1 of the Public Finance Management Nandi County Executive Committee Car Loan and Mortgage Scheme Fund Regulations 2018 that requires recoveries on monthly reducing balance. In the circumstance, the recoverability of loans totaling 14,954,146 that were not repaid in the year is doubtful and management is in breach of the law. Thank you.
Governor, the management response. The CEC Finance.
It is true that there were a few months where there was delay in payment of this facility, but this was occasioned by a number of reasons. There's a staff who had been interdicted and having gone through the disciplinary process during that time was not under salary, or whatever was available was insufficient. But after resettlement, we allowed the staff to have a new repayment plan, and is up to date now. Again, during the COVID pandemic, there was a directive by the County Executive Committee that we take salary cuts for purposes of responding to the pandemic. During that time, it therefore meant that what was available in the payslip was not going to be sufficient to meet the recovery. But forthwith that was rectified, and those facilities are now up to date. We have a few, though, who had challenges.
Give the response, Babati, as it is.
Okay, Chair.
Then now after that, we'll give you an opportunity to explain.
Okay.
Just for the records.
The underpayments of the loans were occasioned by a number of reasons. One was interdiction of some beneficiaries by which resulted to them facing the disciplinary committee as per the laid down procedures. However, the same officers were reinstated and are now servicing their loans. Their loans resumed immediately. Secondly, at some point during the pandemic there were 2 months recoveries which were diverted to COVID-19 emergency, and this therefore resulted in some loanees not clearing their loans before the expiry of their contracts. Nevertheless, an agreement has been made with the affected loanees so as to recover the outstanding amounts from their gratuity at the end of the term. We have attached herein is the current gratuity computation for the affected members and authorization letters by the same loanees for use of their gratuity to settle any outstanding amounts. To explain this, Chair, briefly, those who are reinstated are now up to date in payments. The 2 months under recovery were made up after COVID-19. But we have one case actually in particular that has not paid up to date, and we are following up recovery mechanism. Another staff cleared this term with outstanding arrears, but when we followed up, that has been settled. So to date, the loans are performing, save for one which we are following up for recovery of the security. Thank you.
Auditor, your further comments?
Thank you, Chair. Okay, we noted the management's response. However, they needed to provide documentary evidences to support the explanations that have been given, like if the loans are currently performing, needed to see something like a loan schedule indicating the loan balances for each and every member to see that they've moved from where they were before and they're now performing. Thank you.
Members, Senator, let's start with the financial expert. And then we come to the lawyer. Jerigay.
Yeah, I think again is the issue again of responsibility, because the way the explanation seems acceptable, because you're dealing with emerging complexities, but it's just the action of being able to provide document and provide these documentation. These are something that's recurring, that is now banging our heads. But I also wanted to ask the process with which you actually did take the 2 month salaries, the 2 months recoveries, and diverted them to deal with emergency supplies. How was that process documented? Was there a resolution? Is that not contravening any act of the county? Were the auditors updated with regards to that documentation of that particular process? And then what is the process that you have put in place to recover that expense as well? Or did it go as a sunk cost? Because of the emergency, now that's a sunk cost that is not going to be recovered. That needs to be explained properly, and again with proper documentation to the auditors. Thank you, Chair.
Senator Jerigay.
So that the Governor can answer. I read this and I have very morbid fear, Chair, because one of the responses is interdiction of some beneficiaries. I wish they would have told us how many people are interdicted. This is the evidence to that effect, because we are not doing summary. The accounting does not allow summary. So in this case, how many people were in disciplinary committee? Let's assume that, or maybe they were not unable to perform the loan, and the CEC has said the performance is up to date, and the Auditor General has said it is not in place. So, Governor, how many of these beneficiaries? Because I don't believe in accounts, there is what we call sum. It should be specific. If there are 10, it should be 10 that were interdicted. Number 2, Chair, CC, let me help you, Governor. At least in your argument, you should have said not to violate a third requirement under salary. That would have been a better answer instead of saying why it diverted. Even if you took salary cuts, the issue should have been you didn't want to offend the law in the third rule of the salary. That should have been a better answer as opposed to taking the salary cut. So, Chair, and you have seen the OAG there is something consistent about non-availability of documents. And you know, when you don't see documents, it doesn't give us the true picture of value for money. It is as simple as that. So my question is, Governor, how many of these people were interdicted or through staff attrition? And just to add another question, I write what Senator Eti said, are there staff that out of attrition left loan that were never paid? And it will come back to whether these loans have been insured to take care of that risk. Thank you, Chair.
Response?
Thank you, Chair. Specifically, there were 2 staffs that were under interdiction, and after the process and they were reinstated, the repayment schedule was reworked and it is up to date. With regard to the 2 months arrears or recoveries that were not realized, this was pursuant to, you will remember during the COVID-19, a lot of national government executive and county government executive resolved to support the process of COVID-19 resourcing by accepting to donate, and all of them voluntarily committed to donate, some amount. That was recovered. That meant that they were unable to meet that threshold as indicated by our senator there. But then subsequently after that, they were able to restructure, and that has been up to date, and that is ongoing. Again, in terms of in situations where they are unable to complete before their term, as indicated here, there is the process that we have captured is that those monies, they sign and commit that those monies will be recovered through their gratuity, and that has always been the case. But also, this loan is always secure. There is always security towards it. And if recovering through gratuity does not happen, or it's not possible, we also still have the opportunity to recover through the security that is submitted.
Governor, with a lot of respect, today I want to take my my gear to gear 1. Is there a CEC of finance here? I hope it's the gentleman sitting on your left. Is there a chief officer of finance? You are there. Help the governor. This committee is not lazy, and the governor had the opportunity to actually serve in this Senate. The reason why he's a governor is because he did an excellent job in the Senate, I would perceive, so that he wasn't doing some shoddy job. You see, the governor has just said that the staff who are affected were only 2. The amount in question that is not paid in the amortization scale that you have is 14 million. See, are you seeing a problem? The problem is that you are giving us even below basic responses. Completely below basic, up and above what your senator is asking. These audit queries, we are here to help you grow. We are here to help the counties grow. We want to know where your problem is so we can be able to help you. If what the governor has said is anything to go with, then the justification is that those 2, only those 2, and the meager sectors you use during COVID or you didn't take during COVID has led to this 14 billion, which is not true. Give us comprehensive responses on the impact of the 14 million. Break it down for us. Say the 2, the 2 owed this amount. This is what the impact of their, stoppage from work caused, the amortization, and then the other factors like COVID has led to this impact of the remaining amount. We want to see some nuance, some engagement with this, because now even the issue is not just to solve the query in the sense that you have been cleared by the auditor. The issue is also to look at how can we help you outperforming loan books. Okay? Because this particular, if you read some of your powers under under section 150 of the PFM Act, you have so much powers, including powers like writing off some of the things that are not performing. And those ones, you can only get to those powers that have been given by the law if we can be able to read what the problem is. The responses here have been very underwhelming. Governor, very, very underwhelming. Especially financial matters, you can do better than this. If the governor is not going to start crunching numbers in his head, we have got 2 employees who are affected. The amount that they cost into this is 2 million, 3 million, and the COVID cost us 1 million, 2 million. Those numbers should be crunched by you for the benefit of the auditors. And then it could even reach here. The auditors themselves will help you. So guys, go and do your job. This is serious incompetence.
Chair, can I add something quickly so that we make progress? Because the following, so that to the auditor.
In the next 5 minutes.
Yes. Okay. Chair, I will ask the following: that the auditor be given documentation to verify the performance of this loan. Yeah. Number 2, the governor said 2 officers were on interdiction. But if you read the audit query, it says the recoverability of loans totaling 14,954,146 that were not repaid in the year is doubtful, and management is in breach of the law. So the question, if this 14 million, does it mean the two officers incurred or they had a loan of 14.5? So my request to this committee is that you order the county government to give necessary documentation to clarify on this non-performing of 14.9 million and to check the status of non-performing loans as at today. Thank you, Chair.
Chair. Yes, like
You are the last one.
It's
like we are saying we are doing our basically closing remarks. I want to echo what Eddie has said. If we know you are still coming back for 2 financial years for the education fund, and then also on the other, is it the emergency region? So basically, I think the best thing for you, Governor, is for your team to go and redo these reports, because the answers are very shallow. I mean, the responses are very shallow. So it is important that they act professionally, because these are professionals, so that, we save time. We are going around talking about the same things. Looks like you don't have people on board who are professionals, but they're professionals. So don't be lazy. Take your work seriously. Otherwise, as Eddie has said, your governor is very lenient. If it was somebody else, you would be going back with your letters of termination. Please, don't embarrass your governor. We are here to support you, but we can't support you if you are not supporting the governor. Please.
Very well, Governor, your response, and then we close.
The one on the mortgage loan insurance, that should be the last one.
It will go. It is related because.
And then I see you saying the governor is lenient because he's on record. Maybe the same people have captured the governor. Are you sure the governor is lenient? Maybe the governor is state capture by the employees. Why are you presenting us that he's lenient?
Under entity capture.
Yes, state capture of the county.
So maybe, Governor, you can comment, and for the purpose of this, you can also comment on the loan insurance, mortgage loan insurance.
Yeah, so that I have
because now there are 2 unforeseen things that happen, which if you had an insurance, maybe they could have been covered then, Governor.
So, Chair, I think the concerns that the committee has noted is accurate. We definitely take the direction that since we have a number of other outstanding reports that we need to appear before this committee, we should be able to look at the answers, including that one on the loan insurance, allow us to work on our management responses and respond appropriately.
So, very well. Today I will not allow closing remarks. Allow me just to read out the interim recommendations, and then the governor.
I thought as the area senators would be given a chance.
Yeah, I will come to that. I will come to that. After the recommendations,
I thought
I
the
would
chair
allow you and
should have the last word.
You have your word.
So we have prepared some interim recommendation, which will be sent to the governor in writing and also copied to the county senator. These are things that we feel as a committee must be handled, even as we prepare to retire to do the report. On the county education fund, we covered only 2019-2020, and these are the recommendations that we are giving in the interim. Number 1, the committee noted that the fund administrator for Nandi County Education Fund had not submitted financial statement on the fund for the financial year 2016-2017 and directs the county to submit the said financial statement to the committee, the Office of the Auditor General and the Control of Budget within 14 days from the date of this meeting. The governor takes administrative action against the fund administrators who failed to submit financial statements to OAG and CBO as required by the law. We just say administrative action. We are not telling the governor what to, the specific action to take. He knows. Number two, the CEC Finance should ensure that the fund administrators make timely submission of documents during the audit process in line with the Section 9, subsection 1E of the Public Audit Act 2015, failure to which the committee shall recommend for their investigation and prosecution in line with Section 62, subsection 2 of the Public Audit Act 2015. Number three, the committee notes that bursary disbursement in the year under review were classified as general expenses in financial statement based on a cabinet memo dated 14th November 2017. To ascertain value for money, the committee directs the governor of Nandi to submit schedules of disbursements of bursaries for the period under review to the committee and to the Office of the Auditor General for verification within 14 days. Now, on the Nandi County Executive Car Loan and Mortgage Scheme Fund, in the interim, we are recommending the following. Number one, the committee notes that there were serious inaccuracies in the presentation of financial statements and therefore recommends the governor through the CEC Finance takes remedial measures to ensure fund administrators keep accurate financial records. Number two, the committee directs the governor to submit to the committee and the Office of the Auditor General for verification documentary evidence on the performance of the loan totaling 14,954,146 within 14 days from the date of this meeting. I believe this is the amortization schedule, the updated amortization schedule. So that is what we have recommended in the interim. So now, I will, final comment, 30 seconds.
Governor, thank you so much for coming. And my 30 seconds is this. Before coming here, I hope you can get a chance with your entire team. Go through every single thing that they are compiling to come with to this committee, so that we don't go through this kind of agonizing back and forth on issues of competence. It shows really bad on the image of your staffers, but also it shows really bad on the image of yourself and the county. I think that is a chance. We did this with some governors last year, and we had better reports, because sometimes these things will be captured by you. Given that I know that you're very smart and very, very thorough in the things that you're doing, but you can be overwhelmed as an executive. Just have a few minutes with them before they come here. But otherwise, we wish you well as you travel back home, and thank you so much for being in this committee today.
Senator Nandi, your final comments?
I think, Chair, in your, I don't know, there were also some dereliction of duty by some county officers who are qualified. So I hope as you retire to retreat, you must capture that, and if possible, they should be reported to the institute. Ndio ikuwe funzo kwa wale wengine ambao labda watakuwa na tabia kama hiyo. Chair, the non-availability and also the final issue was the mortgage loan insurance. You can see over 98 million was being given, but the auditor queries where there was no support of such payment or insurance of the same. These are issues, Chair, and the basics of even financial statement has been a problem. This money is for the people of Nandi and should be utilized. And Kenyans are paying taxes so that their money can be utilized in a proper way, Chair. So, Chair, I think I've said in CPIC and CPAC combined before, I think this is important, but the responses by the management has been wishy-washy. It has not met the standard that you can hold on to it. Even an example is on the issue of explaining 14.9, which you have captured, where we are not being told where it's coming from, how is the recovery, how is the performance of such loan. So, Chair, I think to me it's still below average. We expected a lot from this. The governor is having second term. We should have, some of these issues should have been resolved before. My only concern is that they should take the auditor seriously. I always believe, Chair, in conclusion, that audit is a fair process. You are given all the chances, entry meeting, exit, management, draft, all those processes are always available to rectify. Even if a voucher is missing, auditor is the only person you can go back and still provide to remedy the situation. Chair, with those many remarks, thank you for the committee. I think working under extraneous circumstances and also being on a Monday, I know Eddie and myself, we watched AFCON yesterday up to late, around 2 a.m., so we have really worked hard for today. Thank you, Chair. And the elephants, of course, ensure that
it is the orange one.
No, it is not about ODM. We will come and fix you in Migori.
You are
We
on
will
the
come and
record.
fix you in Migori.
I did not support the orange, but I supported
The Super Eagles. But green is UDA. So green is UDA.
so it has no connotations. Governor, your final comments.
Thank you, Chairman. Well noted. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. We have, I have taken notes in areas that we need to work on, and we take guidance on the recommendations and the directions by the committee, and we will endeavor to ensure that we comply. And thank you so much. We look